Hello guys, and welcome to my channel. If you're new to this channel, I say welcome. If you're an old subscriber, I say welcome back. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to draft a mermaid skirt with tail. Now the tail is not going to be cut separately and attached to the skirt. The tail is going to be drafted as part of the skirt. So in case some of you are wondering, how is this going to be done? Well, you're going to see. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please click the subscribe button, and also don't forget to click the bell beside the subscribe button. I don't know where that is, so you get notified whenever I post a new video. Now I said this tutorial is going to be about a skirt. Now when you make a skirt, you can either attach a skirt band or make it bandless and make it into a proper skirt, or you attach a bodice to it and we're going to make it into a dress. So in my next video, I'm just going to show you how I sewed the skirt. Now the reason why I want to show you the sewing of the skirt, whether I attach it to a skirt or I attach it to a bodice, it doesn't matter. The reason I want to show you the sewing of the skirt is so that you see how it comes out at the end of the day. So with this process, you can decide to make to make bridesmaids dresses. You can try to use it to make reception dresses. What else? You can try to use it to make traditional dresses, maybe with lace, with Ankara fabric, with crepe fabric, with scuba fabric, whatever dress you want to make that would have like this flowy effect without you having to cut and attach a tail to it. So that's just basically it. Without further ado, let us get right into the sewing tutorial, into the drafting tutorial, sorry.
So first things first, you need to get your measurement and your tools ready. So I have my measurement, my tape rule, scissors, ruler, and my pattern paper. So what I've done previously was to mark 0.5 inches from my top line, which will serve as my seam allowance, whether I'm joining to a band or to a bodice. So right now I'm going to mark my waist measurement divided by 4. Waist measurement is 28 by 4, which is 7, and I have marked that right there. So before we continue, I just want to note where my center front is, which is usually supposed to be on fold. So I'm just marking it or labeling it. So the next thing we're going to do is mark our waist to hip measurement. So our waist to hip length is 10 inches, and I'm going to mark another point right there so that I end up having a straight line at my hip line area. So what I'm going to do now is join those 2 points with my straight ruler, and then we're going to measure our hip measurement. Now my hip round measurement is 40 by 4 is 10 inches. So I'm going to mark that 10 inches on that line there, and I'm going to join my my waist to hip length, hip to waist, whatever. So what I'm going to do now is mark our waist to knee. Now my waist to knee is 24. Now I usually don't like to mark on that exact knee length, because when you end up sewing the skirts, you may not be able to work properly because of the tightness around the knee area. So what I'm going to do is go 2 inches up or subtract 2 inches, so I end up with 22. You can try to subtract 3 inches or 2.5, that is up to you, but I decided to go with 22. So I'm going to mark another point and then join those points with a straight line. Now for my knee round measurement, what I usually do is mark 1.5 inches up off my hip round measurement divided by 4. So my hip round measurement by 4 is 10 inches. So 10 minus 1.5, that is 8.5, and then I'm just going to join my hip to knee. Now the next thing we're going to do is mark our waist to floor. Now my waist to floor, as noted in my measurement, is 43 inches. So that is what I'm just going to do now. I've already added or joined paper to this, so I have my exact length right here. So I'm just going to mark my length, which is 43 inches. And then we're going to mark another reference point on fold or on the place labeled center front, and then we're just going to join those 2 points together all the way down. So now for the width of the length of the skirt, that's for the bottom, how wide you want it to be, you can go with twice your hip measurement divided by 4. You can decide to add extra extra inches for extra wideness, depending on how wide you want the base of your skirt to be. You can decide to go with an extra 5 inches, but I'm just going to go with double my hip length, and I'm just going to join those 2 points together from my knee to the floor. Now I want to sort of like slant this the base of this skirt so that it sort of like has this tail like effect. So I extended the diagonal line, and I'm just going to mark 3 inches on that line. Now what I'm going to do now is join that point all the way to this line right here. So it sort of like has this slanted effect, and I'm just going to fine-tune those lines so it sort of like has a curve. Now make sure that you add your seam allowance either on this pattern paper or on fabric. I actually forgot to do that. So what I'm going to do next now is to curve out my knee area and my hip, those sharp points, because when you're sewing, you don't want to end up with those sharp points. So I usually do that with a French curve. So I'm just going to be adding my allowances with this green marker. And first off, I'm just going to add my dart allowance. My dart allowance is 1 inch, and then my sewing and hemming allowance is 1.5 inches, which is on my waist area. Now to the hip area, you're not going to add any dart allowance, just sewing and hemming allowance, which is 1.5 inches. So I'm marking 1.5 inches on my hip, on my knee, and on the base of the skirt. Remember, don't forget to add your sewing and hemming allowance at the bottom of your skirt. And then I'm just going to join this point all the way up to the knee, to the hip, and then to the waist. And I make sure to curve out the hip and the knee area. It's very, very important. So now what I'm going to do now is cut out my front pattern, ensuring that I follow that curve around the knee and around the hip area. So now the next thing we are going to do after cutting this out is to move to our dart construction. So now for that construction, you need your nipple to nipple measurement. So mine is 7 by 2 is 3.5 inches. So you can go with 3.5. Sometimes I like to add 1/8 of an inch to that, more or less, like so that the dart sort of like adjusts itself on my nipple area. So you can go with your nipple measurement, nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, or you can add 1/8 of an inch allowance. So what I'm going to do now is draw a straight line, and that straight line will serve as the center of the dart. Now my dart allowance is 1 inch, so I'm going to mark 0.5 inches on both sides, and then join it all the way to the center of my dart, which will now form a triangular dart. And now that is it for the front piece. Now for the back piece, what I did was to place my front piece on another pattern paper, and I'm just going to trace out the front piece on that pattern paper. So that was what I did, and then I'm going to show you how to extend the back piece so that you end up with a tail. So it's very, very important that you carefully trace out the front. And then once we are done with this, now I'm just going to lift up the front piece. So now this is what we have at the end of the day. Now we are going to extend that center front line, which has now become our center back line. I'm just going to extend it all the way down. Now after that, I extend my center back line by 6 inches. Once I do that, I'm just going to extend it all the way, join the point all the way to the side seam. It's very, very important because your side seam for the back must match your side seam for the front. So now this green circle is my knee area. Sorry, I recorded this off camera. What I did was, from that point I drew a diagonal line all the way down. Now the base of this extended tail can be the same length as the hem of your front. So what I did was to extend it all the way down, and then that 6 inches that is there, I also sort of like slanted it all the way down. So the 6 inches at your center back is not the same as your tail extension. So you would realize that your tail extension, the length is longer than your center back length. And then what I'm going to do now is sort of cut it out, and that is my back pattern. So I hope that is clear. If it is not clear, please ask your questions in the comment section. So at the end of the day, this is how it looks like. So my back tail actually looks like I attached a gode. That is what it is called, a gode, to it. So what I'm going to do now is label that the center back, and then my pattern is ready for you. So in my next video, I'm just going to show you how I added this to a bodice that I had already created. You can decide to add this, to add a skirt band to this. You can decide to add a bodice to this to make it into a dress. So thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.